Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive with us. Today, we'll be looking at a document one of our listeners sent in. It's called Pure Consciousness, Taking on the Way Inside. Have you had a chance to look it over yet?
I have. Definitely some thought-provoking stuff in there.
Yeah, for sure. And, there's one chapter in particular that I really wanted to dig into with you today. It's the chapter called Review. And this chapter really got me thinking. We spend so much of our lives, focused on the external world, right?
Mm.
Like careers, relationships, a never-ending to-do list, all that.
Yeah.
But what happens when we kind of turn inward? What can we find there?
It's interesting, isn't it? Like, the document highlights how much of our education and, you know, just societal focus is on navigating that external world. And we measure success by external markers, but there's this whole inner world that often goes unexplored, like that could hold a key to a more fulfilling life. It's pretty intriguing.
Yeah, and the chapter really drives that point home with this powerful image.
Yeah.
It talks about how when we first try to look inward, it can feel like staring into this abyss, like this vast unknown space.
Right.
It almost makes you wonder why we aren't given more guidance on navigating this inner terrain right.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
like we're given this incredibly complex inner landscape, but no map to guide us. And the document points out this paradox. We spend years in school learning about history, science, math, like the outside world, but very little time learning about ourselves, our inner workings.
It's almost as if we're expected to just figure it out on our own.
Right.
But this chapter isn't all doom and gloom about this inner abyss. It actually gives us some hope.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Like a little glimmer of light there.
And that's where the idea of these inner tools comes in. The chapter suggests we all possess these inherent abilities, things like rational thought, imagination, intuition, that can be used to explore and understand our inner world. Okay, see, that's where I need you to break it down for me, because honestly, when I hear inner tools, my brain just kind of goes, huh, what do these tools actually look like in practice? Like, what are we talking about here?
Okay, sure. Well, let's take rational thought, for example.
Hmm.
We use it all the time in the outer world to solve problems, analyze situations, make decisions. But the review chapter suggests we can turn this tool inward, too. Like to examine our own thoughts and beliefs, understand our motivations and reactions.
So it's not just about thinking. It's about thinking about our thinking, like becoming aware of those thought patterns that maybe aren't serving us so well.
Exactly. It's about cultivating that self-awareness and understanding the forces that are shaping our inner world.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So what about the other tools? I'm especially curious about imagination. Isn't that just for daydreaming and making up stories?
Well, the chapter actually emphasizes the power of imagination for inner exploration. It talks about both visual and auditory imagination. Visual is picturing things in our minds, but auditory imagination is just as potent. Think about the power of music to evoke emotions, or how like a guided meditation uses words to create a sense of calm. That's auditory imagination at work. And the chapter suggests we can harness that power to shape our inner experience.
So instead of just letting our minds wander aimlessly, we can actually use imagination as a tool to create a more positive or peaceful inner state.
Exactly. And then we have intuition. That gut feeling that often guides our decisions,
Yeah.
even when we can't logically explain why.
Okay, confession time. I've always struggled with intuition. It feels so mysterious and elusive, like something you either have or you don't. Can we really cultivate intuition like a skill?
That's a common misconception. But the review chapter actually suggests that intuition can be developed with practice. Think of it like strengthening a muscle. The more you tune in to those subtle feelings and hunches, the more discerning you become.
That makes sense. It's like learning to trust those whispers from within, even if we can't always explain them. So what's the last tool on this list?
The chapter describes inner sensitivity as the most fundamental tool of all. It's our ability to notice subtle changes within ourselves. Physical sensations, emotions, even the flow of our thoughts.
So it's like having this internal radar system,
Yeah.
constantly scanning for shifts and signals within us.
Precisely. And the chapter points out that most of us have a pretty basic level of inner sensitivity. We notice when we're hungry or tired, happy or sad. But with practice, we can become much more attuned to the nuances of our inner world.
Wow. That's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it. We have all these incredible tools within us just waiting to be discovered and developed. But this all begs the question, what's the point? Why bother going on this inner journey in the first place?
That's where things get really fascinating. The review chapter argues that cultivating these inner tools and understanding our inner world can lead to profound personal growth, a greater sense of well-being, and even help us uncover a deeper purpose in life.
So it's not just about feeling better. It's about tapping into a whole new level of potential within ourselves.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that our inner state, our thoughts, emotions, beliefs, have a huge impact on our experience of the world and our ability to create the life we want.
It's almost like we've been trying to build happiness from the outside in, when we have the potential to cultivate it from within. And if I'm hearing you right, this chapter is suggesting that traditional education, with its focus on external achievements, might be missing a crucial piece of the puzzle.
That's a very astute observation. The document definitely raises the question of whether we're overlooking a key aspect of human development by focusing solely on external skills and knowledge. It hints at the possibility of unlocking this untapped potential within us when we turn our attention inwards.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. What kind of potential are we talking about here? Can you give us some concrete examples from the chapter?
Well, the review chapter keeps things pretty broad in this section, but it does offer a compelling analogy. It compares cultivating our inner world to physical exercise. We understand the importance of working out to stay physically fit, but what if we applied that same dedication to our mental and emotional fitness?
I love that analogy. It makes so much sense. We wouldn't expect to run a marathon without training our bodies. So why would we expect to navigate the complexities of life without training our minds?
Exactly. And just like physical exercise can improve our physical health, stamina, and resilience, the chapter suggests that inner work can cultivate greater emotional resilience, clarity of thought, and a deeper understanding of ourselves and others.
This is making me think about all those times I felt stuck or frustrated trying to change my external circumstances, without realizing that maybe the real shift needed to happen internally. It's like I was trying to solve the wrong problem.
And that's a common experience. We often look outside ourselves for solutions when the answers might lie within. The review chapter challenges us to explore that inner landscape, to become more aware of our internal patterns and discover the power we have to shape our own experience.
This is all really resonating with me, but I'm also feeling a bit overwhelmed.
Yeah.
It's a lot to take in. If someone's feeling inspired to start exploring their inner world, where do they even begin? What's the first step?
That's a great question, and I think the review chapter provides a simple yet profound starting point. Cultivate inner sensitivity.
Okay, but how do we actually do that? It feels so abstract.
So the chapter emphasizes the importance of paying attention. Start by noticing your physical sensations throughout the day. Are you tense or relaxed? Is your breathing shallow or deep? Then bring that same awareness to your emotions. What are you feeling and where do you feel it in your body?
So it's really about tuning in to those subtle signals we often ignore or push aside. It's about becoming more present in our own bodies and minds.
You got it. And as you practice this, you'll naturally start to become more aware of your thought patterns too. What kinds of thoughts tend to dominate your mind? Are they helpful or harmful?
That's a powerful practice. And it seems like something anyone can do regardless of their background or beliefs.
Exactly. It's about taking that first step on the journey inward. And the review chapter assures us that even small efforts can yield significant results.
It's like we've been handed this incredible map to our inner world, but we've never really learned how to read it.
Right.
And this chapter is saying, hey, there's this whole universe within you waiting to be explored.
And it emphasizes that the journey itself is just as important as the destination. Like the process of exploring our inner world, of developing these tools and cultivating self-awareness can be transformative in its own right.
So it's not just about achieving some end goal. It's about the ongoing practice of understanding and working with ourselves.
Exactly. And the chapter makes a compelling argument for why this inner work is so essential. It suggests that by understanding our inner world, we can start to make more conscious choices, respond to challenges with greater resilience, and ultimately create a more fulfilling and meaningful life.
So it's not just about personal growth. It's about having this positive ripple effect on the world around us.
That's the exciting potential that the review chapter hints at. It suggests that as we cultivate inner peace and clarity, we naturally become more compassionate, understanding, and effective in all areas of our lives.
It's like that saying, be the change you want to see in the world. But instead of focusing on changing others, we start by changing ourselves from the inside out.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And the review chapter leaves us with this powerful question to ponder. If we weren't so reliant on external achievements for happiness, what new possibilities might open up? What could we create if we were operating from a place of inner peace, clarity, and purpose?
That's a question worth reflecting on. And for our listeners who are feeling inspired to embark on their own inner journey, I highly recommend diving into the full document, Pure Consciousness Taking on the Way Inside, to explore these ideas in greater depth. It's a fascinating read. And that brings us to the end of our deep dive for today. Until next time, happy exploring.
It's funny because when we first started talking about this review chapter and the whole idea of exploring our inner world, I have to admit, I was a little skeptical. Like, I thought, okay, this is going to be all like fluffy self-help stuff.
Yeah,
But the more we've dug into it, the more I'm realizing there's some real depth and substance here.
absolutely. And I think one of the things that struck me most about the review chapter is the way it presents these inner tools as actual skills that we can develop. Like, it's not about some mystical process or having some special gift.
Right, it's about putting in the work.
Exactly. It's about making a conscious effort to cultivate our inner awareness and develop these tools through practice. And I think that's really empowering because it means that anyone can do it. Like, you don't have to be some sort of spiritual guru or have some extraordinary talent to explore your inner world.
Exactly. It's accessible to all of us.
So for our listeners who are maybe just starting out on this journey, what would you say is the most important thing to keep in mind?
I think the review chapter really emphasizes the importance of patience and self-compassion. Like, this isn't about achieving some perfect state of inner peace or enlightenment.
Right.
It's about the ongoing process of learning and growing. And there will be times when we get frustrated or discouraged, but the key is to keep coming back to that inner exploration with a sense of curiosity and kindness towards ourselves.
Like anything else worth doing, it takes time and effort.
Exactly. And the rewards are definitely worth it.
Well said. And I think that's a perfect note to end on. For our listeners who are eager to learn more, I highly recommend checking out the full document, Pure Consciousness Taking on the Way Inside. It's full of fascinating insights and practical advice on how to cultivate a deeper understanding of yourself and your inner world.
Yeah, it's a great resource for anyone who's looking to embark on this journey.
So until next time, happy exploring, everyone. And thanks for joining us on another deep dive.